Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Wicked Bitter channel. I'm Travis. Thank you for checking out this video. If you are somebody who is new to this channel, you love WWE, you love pro wrestling, this is a match made in heaven. Subscribe to this channel, like this video for more WWE content. If you're somebody who's returning to this channel, welcome back. Happy that you're here. Glad to have you. We are talking about Smackdown, what happened this week, because there is quite a bit to get into. Smackdown starts with showing highlights from Survivor Series, and more notably, it shows all the injuries that happened, especially in the men's War Games match. Bronson Reed jumping off the top, breaking his, I guess they said he broke his foot, hurt his ankle. I'm not exactly sure completely how much that all entails. They show Tongaloa is in a sling, an arm sling, because he tore his bicep, I think. And then they show Jimmy Uso breaking his toe off the top rope. So some battle scars, some battle wounds from War Games, but that's to be expected in something like this. And then right from there, it shows the bloodline showing up to Smackdown. And I mean, just Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga, because the other guys are hurt, and they're going through security, and so is Apollo Crews at the same time. And Solo kind of bumps into him and makes his way through, and Apollo starts to complain, and Fatu hits him with a super kick, and then they all just start brawling back there. That's how SmackDown starts this week. We get Cody Rhodes starting off SmackDown after that whole backstage incident of Solo, coming in with security, going through the security sensors and all that kind of stuff. Cody comes out to cut a promo on Kevin Owens about facing him at Saturday night's main event, when out of nowhere, I think caught everybody off guard. I wonder, was this a tape? This couldn't have been a taped episode because the injuries that happened. Very strange. I thought this episode was a good episode, but it's just odd that some specific pieces were missing. Like, there was no Jimmy, there was no Paul Heyman, there was no Roman Reigns, there was no Jay. I know he's on Raw, but we don't get any of that. We don't get any sort of like interaction about, Punk. We get nothing about Roman asking Heyman about what's the favor. Nothing like that at all through the whole show, which I thought was very strange. But out of nowhere, who interrupts Cody Rhodes? It's freaking Chad Gable, an American made. I thought that was very odd. Gable comes out. I was about to call him Angle. Gable comes out, talks to Cody, mentions that Nick Aldis made the call to bring American Made to SmackDown, and I think he mentioned, referenced a trade. So I thought that was interesting. These two go back and forth. Gable talks about how Cody is, he dresses like a champion. He says, but that's easy to do. But what's not easy to do is to be a loyal, true friend like Kevin Owens is. And then, Gable kind of goes on about how Kevin Owens is right and Cody is kind of like a backstabber almost for teaming with Roman Reigns, all that kind of stuff. Cody mentions that Gable reminds Cody a lot of himself. They both were dealt a lot of bad things in WWE, and they made the most of it. Shorty G and Stardust type deal. Things start to get intensified between the two in this promo, which ultimately leads to Cody challenging Chad Gable to a match, and it officially becomes official later on, and that's our main event for SmackDown. Michael Cole does mention that in January, I'm guessing January 6th, which is when Raw starts on Netflix, and I feel like that'll be a whole new era in WWE. Michael Cole mentions that there's going to be a lot of changes going on in WWE, especially with the rosters. Like, he said that the general managers of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT are all talking about superstars switching shows. So that's very interesting to see. I get very excited when these types of things happen. I love the draft, even though they've been underwhelming lately. And I love the shakeups, even though those can be underwhelming too. I just love the idea of switching people around. You get fresh new matchups, you get new rivalries, you get people getting called up from NXT that deserve to be. That kind of stuff excites me, and I love that, and it keeps the business moving. So I definitely enjoy that, and I think we got some hints of it tonight, like with Chad Gable and Gunther being there, and we see Dominik in the background. Can all those guys get traded to SmackDown? Because then you open up the question of, if Gunther, the world champion, is on SmackDown, then what happens to Cody? You would just assume he goes to Raw, right? Interesting. That's stuff we could talk about at a later time. But yeah, that's big news from WWE. Tiffany Stratton comes out. She gets that hometown pop, but let's be honest, she was going to get the pop wherever she was. She is just an absolute star, and when she turns into a babyface, that run is going to be phenomenal. I cannot wait for that. She's doing a great job now, though. She's in a triple threat match against Elektra Lopez, and who is the third? I'm blanking on it now. Is it Naomi? Yes, Naomi, Elektra Lopez, and Tiffany Stratton in a triple threat United States Championship tournament match. And Tiffany Stratton comes out on top here. But I should mention, WWE has Jesse Ventura in the crowd. They mentioned that he will be a special announcer at Saturday night's main event. So they're definitely bringing in a lot of like the nostalgia stuff about that show. I can't wait. Saturday night's main event next Saturday is going to be a great show. You can't miss it. I actually have a project due that day to present. It's my last project. If you all have been following me, you understand I've been going through this very difficult course. Next Saturday is my last project presentation, and then after that, the course should be done, thankfully. Oh my goodness, what a struggle. And once that course is done, then this channel is going to get a whole lot more focused than it already has been. We're going to do a lot more with this channel, and I can't wait. That part excites me more than finishing the course. Tiffany Stratton wins this match. Elektra Lopez looked pretty good. There were a few mistakes in this match, but it's okay overall, I guess. The match was good. Elektra Lopez looked fine. She wrestled a little bit in NXT. She hasn't in Smackdown, but she's okay. She can handle her own. She does all right in that ring. They got a little crossed up here and there, but all is good. And it'll be Tiffany Stratton advancing in this tournament. I have a feeling that it's going to come down to Michin and Chelsea Green in the finals. And I am going to go with Chelsea. I have to go with Chelsea. This is like her time to shine. We need Chelsea Green as United States Women's Champion. We just need it. We end up getting Piper Niven versus Bianca. Now, listen, I love both of these women. They're both great. Bianca wins this match, but can I just complain for a second? I'm getting tired of the same finish for this match. I'm getting tired for the same spot, where Piper Niven gets up on the second rope, and then that's how Bianca gets her in the KOD for the finish. I get it that Bianca probably can't pick her up just alone with her standing on the mat. I get that. But the fact that we've seen Bianca versus Niven so many times over the past few years, and every time Bianca wins, it's with that same exact move. It's like that KOD from the corner with Piper getting up on the second rope to help her lift her up. Can we do something else? Can we get a little more creative here? Can Bianca finish a match a different way against Piper? It's just, they added the whole Chelsea thing in there where she threw her on Chelsea, I guess, after the KOD. It's just, but that's the only thing that was different. Other than that, it's the same thing. I like both of them. I love both of them. It's just, I knew what was going to happen before it even happened, and I called it a minute into the match. It's just that it happens all the time. Quickly get a Shinsuke Nakamura vignette backstage where he's talking about how he needed to change, or there needed to be a change, and it wasn't out of desire. It was more out of necessity. I thought that was a pretty interesting thing. We get Nakamura in the ring afterwards. I guess I can cover it now. It's going to be a little out of order because there's something that happened after this vignette. But Nakamura gets out to the ring as United States champion. LA Knight quickly cuts it off before Shinsuke could even talk. And LA Knight starts to cut a promo, says he wants his rematch, all that kind of stuff. Pretty much calls Shinsuke a weak champion, basically, or like a flash in the pan type deal. He wants his rematch. He gets in the ring. Says he's brought his mist blockers. Puts on his LA Knight glasses. Andrade comes out. Talks about how he wants to fight Nakamura. They got unfinished business, whatever. He gets on the apron, and all of a sudden, the Bloodline show up. And they attack LA Knight. They attack Andrade. Shinsuke Nakamura starts to it's almost like foaming out of the mouth, but with the mist coming down. Like he's trying to tell Bloodline, if you mess with me, I got this mist lock and loaded for you. So Bloodline kind of left him alone. He left the ring, and then Solo ends up hitting a promo. I'll get back to the promo in a second because what happened before all of this, Nick Aldis was backstage with Dominik, talking in the background. So it's another tease of maybe something might happen here where Dominik gets moved to SmackDown. I like the idea, but is Dominik coming alone or is Liv coming with him? Because that's That's kind of important too. But they're talking in the back where Byron Saxton ends up coming up to Bianca, talks to Bianca, and Naomi's there with her too. Byron asks, who else? I know you think it's Piper that attacked Jade, but who else do you think it could have been? And, Naomi's sitting there. And the way Naomi kind of looks at Bianca a couple of times, and the way WWE would do this, like this is something they would do. They would have Bianca talking about, I don't know who it is, but when I find them, they're going to get it, and the person who did it is standing right next to them. I feel like this is that moment. Up till now, I haven't really been convinced that it's been Naomi who attacked Jade. But after seeing that backstage little interview, because of did we need that interview for anything? Because Bianca didn't really tell us anything. If the purpose was just to show that Dom was talking to somebody in the background, we could have done that with something else. But the fact that Bianca was just being asked a very generic, basic question that she pretty much had a very generic, basic answer to, I feel like there's got to be something to this. Naomi standing right there, I feel like WWE is kind of using this to flash back on later on and be like, man, Naomi's the one that turned on Jade, and she was standing right next to Bianca. I could see them using that interview in a highlight package later on. So I'm starting to think it's Naomi. I got this weird feeling that she's the one that attacked Jade, which honestly, I welcome a Naomi heel turn. We need something for Naomi here because she keeps taking L's, and she's too good to be taking all the L's. She needs something different. I'll get back to the promo now by Solo Sikoa, but I mentioned Nakamura left the ring. I'm just going to mention this quickly. I think Shinsuke Nakamura as U.S. champion is great. I welcome it. It's going to be, I hope it's going to be a good run. He's got a new look. He's got a new song. He looks like $1 million, right? The aura is unbelievable with Nakamura. My issue, I love those backstage vignettes that he does where he speaks in Japanese and we get the subtitles. I love all that. But as far as an in-ring promo, which we are going to have from Shinsuke Nakamura at some point, it just has to happen to build a feud because you can't always have these feuds where he's just talking in Japanese with subtitles in the back to nobody, other than the camera. We need face-to-face conflict. We need face-to-face verbal battles here. I think that he would be benefited a great amount if he had somebody talking for him. I say we get Shinsuke Nakamura a manager that can speak for him. I don't know who. I mentioned this to a couple of friends. They asked who I had in mind. I can't think of anybody. So I don't know. If you have any ideas, please leave them in the comments. I think that he needs somebody to speak for him because as much as I love him, and I love those backstage promo vignette things where the subtitles, he needs to have some in-ring something. And to have a manager by his side to help him cheat and win matches will actually help build him as well. So I think we definitely need that out of Nakamura. Solo hits a very basic, plain promo here. Talks about how he's tired of being laughed at or looked at as a joke. And he said, you can laugh at me all you want, but you will acknowledge me as tribal chief. I'm still your tribal chief. I'm still the head of the table, and I still have the Olafala. So a very basic, direct, short promo. I don't know if I don't think it was pre-taped, but this was some things on this show after a PLE like War Games, where you expect a major fallout, it felt like War Games didn't even happen because a lot of this stuff on the Smackdown didn't even talk about it, other than the highlight that they played in the beginning. It's almost like everybody just forgot about it, and nobody's continuing it on. It's weird, but hits that promo, and that was basically it. Leaves the ring, and that's it for the Bloodlines. And it was just a weird, not much. After a very long months of built feud to lead to War Games, and then the fallout is basically nothing. What's happening? Gargano and Ciampa are tag team champions. Wow. And everybody was wondering if Johnny Gargano was just going to turn on Ciampa, if Ciampa was going to turn on him officially, if they were going to split. But what we get instead is Gargano turns heel in this match, and now DIY are official heels. Gargano low-blowed the machine gun, motor machine guns. I don't know who he got it to. It wasn't Alex Shelley. I think he low-blowed Chris Sabin, and then they Ciampa and Gargano did their meet in the middle tag team finisher to become tag team champs. And then backstage they were celebrating, and Candice LeRae showed up. So maybe we're going to put them all three together. I think that would be a great idea. I wish we had Indy for this because this would have been perfect. But we're going to get those three together, I would assume. Yeah, I like it. And it builds a good feud. I did think, though, the Street Profits were going to turn heel. I thought they were going to turn heel this whole time. Maybe they still will, but if they do that, then that means 2 out of their top 3 tag teams that they've been showcasing lately are heels, and we're going to only have Motor City Machine Guns as the baby faces so far, and they're not over yet like that with the crowd, so I don't know. I feel like we got a mountain to climb here, but I'm here for it. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet, man. Kevin Owens was in his car. He asked Michael Cole to come out there and interview him if Michael Cole wanted to talk to him. I thought this was hilarious. Kevin Owens is so good. These two going back and forth. Michael Cole brought up how, Kevin Owens, doesn't he kind of deserve all of this? Like, he was a big Kevin Owens supporter until just recently. He came up with, he met him in NXT, 10, 12 years ago, and supported him all this time. And Kevin Owens, he eventually gets mad to the point where he kicks Michael Cole out of the car, the rental car. He said, "Please leave my rental car, please." I thought that was pretty funny. And then as Michael Cole gets kicked out of the car, Kevin Owens calls him back, "Hey, wait, Michael." And Michael gets up to the window. He's like, "Are you going to apologize?" And as he's saying that, Kevin Owens is putting up the window. I thought that was hilarious. It's just the small little things like that. Kevin Owens is amazing. He's one of my favorites. He has been for a very long time. I want another WWE or World Heavyweight Championship run out of Kevin Owens. I just do. I think he's amazing. Nick Aldis is talking backstage with Gunther. He ends up shaking his hand. And as he did that, Carmelo Hayes walks up, and Hayes is just like, "What's going on here?" And he asks Aldis, "Hey, you got time to talk to Gunther, guys from Raw, but what about me? What about, Carmelo?" And then Gunther and Aldis is like, "Well, that's the World Heavyweight Champion right there." Melo says, "Hey, I need to start figuring out what's going on from here on SmackDown, or else Monday Night Melo sounds pretty good." And I was like, "Ooh, that kind of rolls off the tongue pretty nicely." Do we get a little swap here? Did we get a little trade? Did we get the number 1 pick, Carmelo Hayes, for Gunther, the World Heavyweight Champion? Is that a fair trade? A lot of people will say no, because one's a champ, one's not, and Melo hasn't done anything in WWE so far, but you could sell the fact that he was the number 1 pick for SmackDown. You could. I say, if you're going to trade your World Heavyweight Champion, you better trade for the WWE title, the WWE Champion. That's got to be the swap. But maybe Melo does get traded to Raw at some capacity. Maybe we find a way, Melo for Dominik or something like that, if we're going to do this. I feel like WWE was planting seeds and kind of teasing us a little bit as to who might be moving at the shake-up or whatever. But I feel like something like that is coming out of these two. Cody Rhodes has his main event match against Chad Gable. It was a great match. Of course, as you would expect, Cody Rhodes ends up coming up on top and winning the match. After the match, Kevin Owens attacks Cody Rhodes. These two just brawl and brawl and brawl. The security tries to come out and break it all up. But that's how we go off the air, with these two just brawling to end SmackDown. So that's SmackDown. That was the end of it. Interesting. I don't know. I don't really have too many words for it. It was a good show. I liked that the show. I was entertained. It was a good show, good flow, all that stuff. But I felt like coming off of War Games, we should have had more emphasis on the War Games match. I felt like Roman should have been there. I felt like Paul should have been there. Jimmy, I thought we should have had some kind of callback or something. Ask about the favor. Ask about why Paul Heyman didn't answer his phone. I thought we should have had something, but we didn't. And then obviously the Bloodline stuff was very short-lived on the SmackDown. I know they have injuries, but they didn't really stay around or do anything else notable. So some things I felt like needed more attention, and some, other things got a lot more attention than I thought they would have gotten. So that's just SmackDown, I guess, this week. Maybe it might be different a little bit next week, or maybe they'll wait until after Saturday Night's main event to do more. But yeah, okay, I'm all right with it. And you could look at it too, where Cody didn't have a match at Survivor Series, so it's like maybe they swapped that for this week, where they put a little more emphasis and focus on Cody and Kevin Owens, since they have a match at Saturday Night's main event, and the OG Bloodline don't so far, and I don't think they will. So maybe that's why they did this, to try to like balance it out. I'm gonna go with that as the reason why. All right, my friends, I appreciate you watching this video. Please like it if you haven't yet. It does a lot for the channel. It helps get this channel out to more people, show up on their page, on their algorithm. I really appreciate it if you like this video. Subscribe if you could, please. That'd be great. We're trying to grow this community more and more and more, and we have a lot of plans for this channel, so you want to be here for all that. Trust me, you will. I'm not like every other person. I'm not going to be like every other YouTube creator. I'm not. I'm different. I always want to be different. I always want to do different things. So trust me on that. Yes. Okay. That's it for now. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. We'll be back with more videos. Please send in those emails. I only got a couple. I want to wait until I get a couple of more. Plus, I've been a little busy with project stuff, but I would like to do an email video. So if you would still like to send them, you still have time. wickedbittermedia@gmail.com. I will see you there on that next video. And if not, I'll see you on the Raw review. You guys have a great weekend. I appreciate you all. As always, my friends, until we yeet again, stay bitter.